Hey Joe, I think we're live, just by the way. But it's still waiting, so we're standing by. If you're watching this and you can't see it, we're just standing by. Live is only in 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
10. So
we're just standing by to see when everybody arrives. Can you guys see me? Matt Howes. Matt's on.
Oh, hi Matt.
Is that the surname, right? Or is that a different Matt?
Which Matt? Are you talking about our blue one, Matt?
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
Matt Carroll.
Hi Matt. Can anybody see us yet? We're only going properly live in 10 minutes. I just want to double check. If you guys can actually see us.
Awesome.
Hello guys. 36 on. Okay, so we are definitely on. 37 on.
You guys got your questions ready?
Definitely think it's worthwhile just prepping. Like I said, I don't want to start answering questions because I've told everybody in 10 minutes. But the purpose of this video is really going to be, it's completely open. Yeah, we're just going to be chatting about when.
Be good, be kind.
That's cool. Okay, we're picking up some people, 47 people, and I really wasn't expecting this. I was pretty sure that we were only going to go live when the timer was going live in 10 minutes. So I'm sorry to bring everybody on already. We might need some more wine.
Not wine, it's water.
I've got wine. Joe's got water.
All right.
Can see you all good. Video and audio is great. Thank you, Paul. Hi, you're all good. Orlando, Florida here. Pete.
Stellenbosch.
Go to DLive. Hey, Jared, just finished my Bridgewatch rating certificate, but want to get into the yachting industry. How should I go about that? We'll dive into all these. I really feel bad for clicking live 5 minutes prior. So we just wanted to double check that there was no issues. Hi from Antarctica.
Oh my goodness. And Bermuda.
Isn't it summer there at the moment? Love you, Jared. Thank you, Mateo. Stellenbosch University. Be studying writing tomorrow. No way. Should be 100% studying, but I'm writing tomorrow. But for Jared.
Studying how to be a crew member.
Thanks, Bradley. Drop your shirt and the ladies flood in. Don't really know what that means. Oh, drop your shirt and the ladies will flood in.
Yeah.
I've only got 5% of my subscribers are female. Did you know that?
Maybe drop your shirt and see what happens.
You bloody alcoholic. It's water. Didn't you say that? Huge fan. Please can I get a shout out? Thank you, Adam. What's up, man? Aware brah from PE. I'm from the UK. Hi from Malta. You're the best YouTuber. Hi from Greece. Hi. This isn't the channel I started. We're not trying to shout myself out on your stream. This isn't the channel I started. Sorry, some spelling there. You're the best. Channel started. Okay, cool. So we're getting some people. Yeah, 65.
Hey,
I'm going to give it another 5 minutes. But my suggestion to everybody that's watching right now, Joanne is a crew placement agent for generally beginners, right?
Yeah.
The new green crew. We call them green crew. So she's the lady that places people like you that are not in this industry on board boats. Those that have some experience all the way up to what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, depending. So I do all entry-level interior and all entry-level deck up to senior deck. So you can be 2, 3 years in the industry. Depending on the size and the program and the requirements, sometimes I've got 3 years experience requirement for a deckhand job and, for example, 86-meter charter.
Right, okay. So it does range.
It does range, but my primary focus is entry-level crew.
Entry-level. So I've been here at Blue Water for the last 3 weeks, and I've got time lapses of people arriving and leaving the Blue Water facility here, going crazy. So Joe's been saying the same thing over and over and over again and talking about CVs over and over and over again. So my suggestion really is to just come up with as many questions as you can about crew placement and about getting jobs and what it is that she looks for and what makes her put people forward. We're going to dive into all that. We've got a little booklet here somewhere. Here it is here. Just talking about at what stage do you speak to Joe? When's the right time? So I really want you to start thinking about questions that you might never really get the chance to ask again, because the reason why I say that is because I really don't know anybody that's had the chance to sit down with somebody that places crew in front of 60 people or however many you're going to chat and ask these questions. So I'm seeing a whole bunch. If you're from Florida, how do you start to become crew? We're going to answer all these. Your vids are amazing. When should I start trying to get on as a decky? These are the kind of questions we want. Someone from Germany, when would you say is the minimum age to start crewing? A beautiful question. Exactly what I'm looking for, entry-level and bridge watching rating certificate. Hey, Jared. How do I break into being a crew member? Thank you so much, Joe. Met some cool people and tips. So these are the kinds of questions I want. How should I approach finding a first-time job in June? I'm unable to start in March. April due to the university school time. Okay, so when you say university, you mean you're going back next year or you're not? Because is this a full-time thing? Is it seasonal? So start to tailor your questions if you can.
Also, where in June are you planning on headed? Because that's
where
also, where are you and where are you thinking of going in June?
Okay, so we're 4 minutes out. I don't know if you're willing to hang on just those next 4 minutes, because I did promise everybody we would only be on from 5:30. So just stand by. I really want everybody or as many people to be here as possible. I really had no idea that I'd click go live and that it was actually going to work at that time.
We weren't quite sure, actually.
Yeah. People are doing maritime high school. So Joe, I think you need to start thinking guys that have actually gone to like cadetships and people that are coming from commercial backgrounds. You need to start thinking about those types of questions. Quick question, how do you stay so positive in all your videos? You've just got to constantly be grateful and so appreciative to have you guys watching all the time.
And coffee.
And coffee. I hope that helps. No, do you know what it is? I love what I do. I love being able to do this and have a chat with you guys. So why would I be upset about that? So exactly. that's what it comes down to.
And I'm surprised you're still smiling because we've kept you quite busy.
I've been here for 3 weeks. I must have gotten on 10 or 15 boats, I think, with Amy,
and 10 to 15 hours of sleep in total.
Yeah. I've been filming for 3 solid weeks. By Tuesday's 3 solid weeks, and I would have had 2 days off of not making a video. So 2 days, those are rookie numbers. I should have just gone all the way through.
I know. But you know this, you got this, it's yachting. That's normal.
But I'm loving what I'm doing, and I'm here. I leave USA on Tuesday. Actually quite sad. I've had a really good time. But that's one thing I struggle with, is being so calm and staying positive. You need to get out more, in my opinion. If that's the case, if you're struggling to do that, then you need to meet more people and get out of your comfort zone as much as you can.
Take your shoes off, walk on the grass.
That works. How do you have so much confidence? That's the second time. Do you consider drinking and smoking habits when hiring or placing crew members? We're going to get into that. Yeah?
Well, I mean, we'll talk about
it's not even Joanne that does. The boats often come to you, right? But we'll get into that.
I mean, the only aspect of that that'll come to me is, are you honest enough to tell me that you're a drinker and a smoker?
That's true.
So that's important.
And if you did lie and get on a boat, then that could really, it could affect you negatively.
It'll affect you negatively. It'll affect me negatively. Yeah. The industry, even though it's huge, it's small.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something we're definitely going to talk about. So we are 2 minutes away, and I'm sorry I'm dragging this on, but more people have arrived, 84 now. So we're just going to stand by a little bit more. Didn't I say 80 when I said we were going to do this? We know about 80 people.
Oh, I don't remember that. That was a long time ago.
Smoking kills. Is it fun? What's your thoughts on Italy? Okay, so there's some. I wouldn't employ a smoker. To be fair, Brian, some people join this industry and start smoking because it can be quite stressful. So, but we'll touch on all this. Is tattoos an issue? Those are the kind of questions we should actually be making some notes.
I have a tattoo.
But let's make some notes if we can on some. We've got a few that we want to talk about, and then we're gonna jump into your questions. Harry, there's a guy. I'm not even gonna start talking about your comments in my videos, Harry.
Where's Harry?
Harry just keeps talking about he's just cheese and food items in my comments. That's what he does all the time. Do you get tired of yachts? No, because they're always changing. They're always different, and they go to the most beautiful places in the world. Like, how could you ever get tired of yachts? Okay, what's the time? 5:29. I got 1 more minute. It's the max age for working on boats. So let's just write down age, because that's seriously something I know people want to talk about. Arizona, what's up? Minimum age. How many California? Are there many Californian charters?
Charters?
Yeah, like boats that go out towards California.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most favorable destination, but there's a decent amount of, I'd say, in between 50 to 100 footers that base themselves in like Los Angeles. There's a couple of big boys, but not that many. Okay, it's 5:30, 90 people. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. The idea behind this video was because it's a unique one. When I joined the industry many years ago, there were so many questions I have that I see all you guys are asking the exact same questions I had. But one of them that you hear about is there are 2 ways of getting a job. Naturally, there's a few, but normally speaking, it's dock walking, which is when you're walking the docks legally in an area that you're allowed to do so. And the other option are people like Joanne. Joanne is a crew placement agent at Blue Water Yachting. I'm sure you know them by now through my videos, but placement agent, training center, charter, sales, they do everything. But one of the sides of it is crew placement, which is what Joanne's department is, and she focuses primarily on entry-level crew. Entry-level crew. So that's like for many of you starting out your first day, just doing your courses, and that's what we're going to talk about, because there are only some boats that look for
like no experienced crew members, and then there are many boats that look for experience. So people keep asking the questions, how? How do I get experience without having experience? So we're going to tap into that, and I think the biggest thing I'm trying to get out of it, is that you or me?
It's me.
Is at what point do you start speaking to Joanne? What's the point of speaking to Joanne? What does Joanne do? And those are the questions I really want you guys to ask. So please feel free to do so. We do want to start on one of the topics of conversation. Perhaps you can just give some insight on yourself. Why are you doing what you're doing, and do you know what you're doing because you've come from the industry or not?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to talk about it a little bit?
So first of all, I'll introduce myself. My name is Jo Cooper Damgard. I do crew placement with Blue Water. I specialize in the entry-level crew. So all you guys wanting to come into the industry, you guys will be dealing with me, hopefully. But I feel that this was such a market that I wanted to tap on. Based on when I entered the industry, there wasn't someone to speak to or ask these silly questions like, what is the difference between a private and charter boat? I was just expected to know when applying for jobs. So when I took this job, I spoke to my boss, who was being so amazing to me with regards to giving me the freedom to really spend time with you guys. Mentorship, yeah. I mean, she's as supportive of Green Crew as I am, and because she supports me and the Green Crew. But basically, I joined the industry as an entry-level stewardess, zero experience, came over from Cape Town, and I was looking for day work, getting all my stuff together. I worked my way up to Chief Stew on 55 meter plus. I spent 6.5 years on boats, and then I decided that I was desperate to have a dog in my life again.
Normal life.
Yeah, normal life. I have a car that's mine.
Yeah. And people do get to that stage.
Eat food that I cooked, sleep in a bed where I don't have to touch the wall anymore. You know, I felt like I'd paid my dues.
So Jo's come from an environment where she's worked her way all the way up to the top of the log, which is a chief stewardess, and now into placement. So she really does have a full spectrum from deck and interior stuff. And that's really what
my husband is an ex-deckhand, and we worked together from the first day of meeting each other. We got onto a boat together. It was hard, but we did it. And so I feel like I have a good understanding of the deck placement too, and the roles that are involved, the type of personality it requires, the courses that are required for it.
Okay, so let's do a super fast overview of what do you do? What does a crew placement agent do? Because there's some people there that don't understand how yacht crew get jobs. So what does a crew placement agent do, summed up fairly quickly?
All right, I'm the go-between between the captain or owner, essentially the hiring party, and the crew member. Okay. So you guys as crew members don't have access to the captain or the owner's email address. So I'm your go-between. I assist with vetting you, helping you with your resume, making sure that the copy of the resume that gets in front of that hiring party is the best. It markets you the best, it sells you the best, it represents your skill set the best.
Right. So why does that boat then feel the need to contact you? Why are they utilizing your services? A captain is using a crew agent because of what? What reason?
Well, because we really vet the candidate. It's not just a random person who receives the resume. We really, really look into you. We help you. We really, really hone in on your skill sets. And we know that yachting is a very, very tailored market. So these owners and these captains are looking for very, very tailored individuals. So it's not just a deckhand.
Right.
It's a deckhand with a skill set of, for example, flying a drone, or has a carpentry background, or a hobby and interest in science and conservation.
You spoke about music as well.
Music, guitar playing, like proper skill sets, because we're not just placing deckhands, we're placing people that are going to be traveling the world with people.
Correct.
As well as your 9 to 5, you're a deckhand, but you are also a human being with skills and have to get on with a small group of people. So it's my job to help place the correct person on a boat, because anyone can place someone on a boat, but essentially you guys want longevity, because it's good on your resume to be on a boat for at least a year. So by myself and my team really, really specializing, honing in on those skill sets and placing the right crew member.
So this is why I was always afraid of crew agents when I was joining the industry. And the reason why I say that initially is because you've got to some degree, I would say, get on with you. Like, if you don't like me because I'm horrible to you or something, I know you're still going to put people forward and you're going to do your thing based on the boat. But what I mean is that's why interviews take place, right? Yes. You've got to meet the person and tie that individual, not that they're wrong or that they're incorrect. It's just with that particular boat, there's a skill set that you have to match.
Or personality.
Because
there's a boat for everyone.
Crew, right? Especially in the green crew.
Yes.
But that's why I'm also here, because many people are afraid of career agents. They realize that they have a responsibility, but at the same time, Jo is in the mentoring section as well. She's here to help you realize what you should be getting on, or what you could be getting on, or what boats would work best for you. And I've seen her come in and out here. I mean, you sit every day and go through like 20 CVs with people.
Yeah, that's just during interview hours. But can you imagine how many I look at during after interview hours?
I realize that. Okay, so let's just before we carry on. So Jo is from the captain to the agent, now looking for you guys, and you're coming in to meet Jo, to give a face to a CV, to assist with the hiring process, to make sure that they find a boat that matches your skill set, and a captain that's looking for the right crew. That's a good way of summarizing.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so pass that book over quickly.
You're so good at summarizing. I'm a little bit long-winded, and I'm not as used to being in front of the camera as you.
Okay, so before coming, at what stage, even if some of these guys have never worked on boats ever, at what stage can they come to you? Let's start with can. There's two questions. At what stage should they come to you, and at what stage can they come to you? When should you guys come to Jo? Let's start with can. Can they come right in the beginning?
You're welcome to come into our offices if, of course, you're in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
I would not encourage you to come to our offices before you are qualified and all of that. But if you are in town, of course, I'll sit down with you guys. I'll help you. I'll give you guidance as to what I require you to do so in order for you to come back and sit down with me.
Right.
Can is definitely anytime. If you have questions, that's what I'm here for. Right. Should, once you have your STCW, which is your basic
it's
certification, it's mandatory, and your ENG1 medical. Those are two mandatory courses, regardless if you're going interior, exterior, engineering, galley. You have to have those.
The medical is not a course. It's a medical certificate stating that you're capable of working at sea. Just to iron that out.
They check for your ears to make sure you can hear foghorn if you're in fog, or that you are specifically, I've noticed, colorblind.
Yeah.
People don't know they're colorblind
until
they go, and then they don't realize that, and that's something that's not going to hamper you from getting a job, but it will just list you as being unable to do an underway watch.
Right. Okay. So now, when should they come and see you after? So you've done the STCW and you've done the STCW and your ENG1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what do they do next? They go onto the website, Blue Water Yachting.
They go into the Blue Water Yachting website and they create a crew account.
Okay.
All right. Once you do your crew account, you upload all your documents. At that point, once you're at 75%, which I say this because I'm a little bit flexible, ideally 87 is the best.
So that's the how much of the profile that you have completed.
Once you're creating a profile, you'll see at the top there'll be a bar that'll tell you what percentage you are complete.
Right.
So 75 is a safe amount. At that point, I feel that you are, let's say I have the most perfect job for you right now. You come in through my offices, you talk to me about what you're looking for. You are perfect for the role, but I don't have a resume for you. I don't have references to check. You haven't got your ENG1 medical. It's going to be such a waste of your time, not only mine, to sit down there, and frustrating, I'm sure, because I can't put you forward. Where if you are at 75%, I know that I've come up with that number because that gives me all the boxes that I need ticked on my end to put you forward for a position.
Right. Okay.
75%, I see a position on my job board that I know you're perfect for. I'm working for that order. I can submit you on the spot.
Okay. So you come in, make a great impression, find the right boat. You can literally go onto the website, click, and submit their job straight away.
Absolutely.
Go straight to the captain.
You saw me do it today.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. So that's really important. There's no point in emailing people who are doing this if you haven't perhaps signed up, because you can't send anything on until you've registered as a crew member.
Yes, of course.
So then you get the next phase, which is once you've registered, and I realize this might be difficult for those that are not in Fort Lauderdale, say you're in California or you're around the world or whatever, once you get here, there is a benefit to coming in and having a chat to Joanne and having that face-to-face interview, because you can write whatever you want to write in a CV, but you cannot fake anything or not be who you say you are in front of Joanne, in front of an interview. So have you often received somebody's CV, it's been like, yeah, okay, this is not a bad CV, come in, and they blew you away? And then you submitted jobs. I mean, you spoke about somebody yesterday.
Today, yes, actually an example. Yesterday I had a guy who came in. He had, I wouldn't say a terrible resume, but I don't feel that he had actually sold himself at all. It took me 20, 30 minutes with him to figure out that he has an extensive diving background. That should have been like flashing lights all over the place. Yeah. Because there is actually a shortage of dive masters and dive instructors within the industry.
So
I was like, oh, you're an advanced diver. Like, have you thought about doing this? He's like, yeah, I've got my hours. I'm like, well, why haven't you done it?
Yeah.
So I'm working on a job for an entry-level deckhand currently at the moment, 0 experience. But the requirements are STCW, ENG1, and powerboat level 2. This guy doesn't have a powerboat level 2. But his personality was outstanding. He was driven. He was polite. He was on time also. He was respectful. I actually was frustrated that I was running out of time. I could have sat with him for another 30 minutes. And we went through his resume extensively, and he took on board quite a lot of the things that I had to say.
Right.
And he said to me, don't worry, Joanne, I'll get you my new resume before you submit me for this position. What a risk he was taking. Before you submit me for this position, please let me send you a better resume. So I said, okay, please. He said, I'll get it to you before the end of today. And he did. And I woke up this morning, I had a look at it, and I was completely overwhelmed with what a great job he had done and how much information he had taken on board. And I put him forward for the position in itself without the powerboat level 2. And I asked my captain if he would be willing to actually comp that and pay for it. So his personality.
That's crazy. I mean, it's something you would have never had if you hadn't walked into the office and spoken face to face to the person.
Because I would have received his application in amongst the 187 that I received for that position.
Right. Yeah.
And I probably would have been like, oh, he doesn't have the powerboat level 2. And I wouldn't have really taken that application further.
But I mean, the same thing applies if you're going to recommend a friend for a day job somewhere. You're going to recommend a friend, you're not going to recommend something that you've never met, right? So I'm only mentioning that because that's why putting a face to the name is so
I don't recommend, that's one thing is a lot of, even my friends, they're like, oh, Joe, give me a job. Yeah, that's not how it works. Yeah. You know, I work for Blue Water, not myself. And, you know.
So what do you cover during the interview? When they come in to have a chat with you, what is something that they should be, not prepping themselves for, but what questions should they have? What are you going to ask them during the interview process if you had to sum it up really quickly?
Oh, I'd always ask you how you got into the industry and why. I will also, pull up your resume.
What happens if they say because of Jared Watney?
Oh my gosh, then I'm going to FaceTime you no matter what time it is, and I'm going to be like, this guy. No, I definitely ask how you got into the industry and why. Okay. Because I have my own reasons. I was also an ex-yachty, and I always like to know these things.
Everybody's got a journey.
I always say everyone's running from or running to something when they're joining yachting.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's just my take on things.
Yeah.
But that's basically, we're going to go over your resume extensively. We're going to go through your career objective. We're going to understand why you're looking for what you're looking, because a lot of people come into this industry thinking they know what they're looking for. And it took me 3 years to figure out what I was looking for on boats after working with them. So it's just really, really understanding you and your background and where I think you're going to fit, because some boats are looking for someone with an extensive hospitality background, or some boats have very conservative crews, so they're looking for that type of dynamic. So what I'm looking for is to gauge your personality. Of
course. Because at the end of the day, and this is something I've spoken about a million times, you can write a bunch of stuff on a CV and it's important, but you need to be able to live with the people that are around you. Yeah. At the end of the day, you got to get on with them, you got to work with them. It's small environments, small spaces, and it's just as important.
Tiny environment, tiny spaces.
Yeah. I mean, we can teach people how to wash boats. You can teach people how to detail the interior.
You can't teach a good attitude.
You can't teach a good attitude or willingness to learn and things like that. And I think that's what's so important. So we're going to move on from that one. But when you come in, you're going to have a chat to Joe, just basically portraying who you are and what you're looking for. And then detailing it to the CV is massive. I mean, I've watched you over and over again, giving people tips. I mean, you give them a Blue Water notebook, a Blue Water pen, they're flipping everything, and they start jotting down, and they leave with like a book, stuff.
People like things they can touch.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. So what do you look for? I know something that we can breeze over this one because you've spoken about, but you do look for additional skills. And a lot of people try to find maritime experience to put on their CV only, which is just as important. That being said, there are other skills. And you mentioned the one thing that I found interesting was there was an issue on the one boat and the power went out, or there was no music, or there was no speakers on board, and there happened to be a guitarist.
That didn't happen to be. When we were hiring, we were looking for a skill set that we could up our game on. So and we made sure that the skill sets that our crew were coming on board with were going to be advantageous to our season. We knew we were going to be in remote places. We had an indication that we may not have AV, meaning, audio all the time.
Yeah.
So when we were hiring, we looked at crew that had, for example, our deck crew, a guitar player. And we got a guitar player on board, and our AV crashed while we were in Costa Rica. And my boss was probably overwhelmed at the fact that we had someone sitting on the aft deck or upper aft deck playing the guitar quietly while they were having dinner.
So let's talk about skill sets. Diving.
Diving,
Massive.
major skill. Yeah. You know, wash down,
Carpentry.
silver polishing. Those are not skills. Those are things that we will teach you as your heads of departments,
Right.
HODs.
Yeah.
But skill sets I'm always looking for is, girls, can you sew? Not a seamstress. Can you replace a button, which is going to save me essentially $80 and having to go underneath a perfectly made bed that took my junior crew 30 minutes to make. So what I'm looking for is
The
skill
simplest
sets.
things, the smallest things that you probably take for granted. Can you
Yes.
build things?
Can you Photoshop?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Can you fly a drone? It's a
Yeah.
huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the boss taking the boat to the most beautiful remote places, and generally speaking, you've got your captain and your first mate doing like the really important stuff, dropping the anchors,
Yeah.
you know, calling distances, talking about stuff. And for instance, the Corner Canal, who's the one flying the drone through that?
Yeah.
Probably your entry-level crew member.
Yeah. Fair enough. I hear what you're
So
saying.
you have that opportunity.
So there's probably a tons of stuff that you've done already that you discount, and you've got to highlight those skills because they make a big difference. So
piano playing, even ballet, it's a skill because it also communicates so much more than just the fact that you played ballet. It communicates poise, discipline, all these things that we can communicate without communicating.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to jump on to this is a big one. I think everybody's very hungry to get a job. They're very eager to get a job. And so something comes up that they're not really are capable of applying for, but they still hit the apply button. So it ends up in your inbox. And then 300 people hit the apply button, even though they are unqualified.
Well, let's just let you guys know. So every time you apply for a job, it doesn't go, well, especially with Blue Water, it doesn't go to the owner or the captain.
Goes to you.
It comes to me. So you can carry on applying for these positions, but if you don't qualify for them, unfortunately, I'm unable to submit you.
But not just that, it's starting to build up a bad reputation for yourself if you're applying for jobs that you're not actually qualified for, because that person's seeing you apply for things the whole time.
Yeah, your FaceTime with me is a positive, it has a positive connotation as opposed to, I mean, a negative as opposed to a positive.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly seeing a resume in my face applying and you're a deckhand with zero experience and you're applying for, you know, my 80-meter deckhand that requires a yacht master and a dive certification, and you're constantly applying for these positions, or I have a candidate who still consistently applies for every single position that I post.
Right.
I can't do anything with it.
No.
So it's also, I have to really, really respect the parameters that the clients give me. And that's why captains and hiring parties and owners come to me. And that's why we as Blue Water, I have to put it in there, we are #1 worldwide for crew placement and training.
Because you vet them.
It's because we vet them so much. And my boss, Amy Ira, she used to own this was Crew Unlimited, and then we merged with Blue Water.
Yeah.
And Amy Ira has such a reputation for being extremely, really serious about her reference checks, because when we put in candidates forward for positions, we're putting them forward underneath this umbrella brand, and it's a really, really reputable brand.
Fair enough. So instead of applying for every job, there's a check-in section on the website. Literally says check in. What that does is basically say that you're still looking. And every morning when Joanne goes to look for crew, whatever it is, that goes to the top of the pile every time you check in, right? So as opposed to applying, just simply check in.
But I mean, you have to apply for the job.
You have to apply, but I'm talking about if there's a job that you're not qualified for, but you want to show your eagerness.
Yes, then you just check in, constantly check in. Yeah, I would always encourage you to check in the morning and check in the evening. Please don't check in constantly, because if I have 12 pages of you, once again, it's a negative FaceTime.
Right. We're going to get onto some of the ones that you guys asked, and there's something that I really do want to talk about. One of them is tattoos. I've spoken about this before, and let me give my version of it, and then you can go and show the fact that you've got tattoos. I mean, you were a chief stewardess serving people with a smiley face, right?
Yep.
It just shows us, firstly, it's possible. Does it help? Not necessarily help. Some owners don't want tattoos, some do. So it's just maybe reducing your chance slightly.
Yes,
right?
You're just
But
reducing the job opportunities.
there are still opportunities. That's what I want to clear. I want to end that there,
100%.
because everybody's freaking out about these tattoos. I just want to move that on.
But if anyone's thinking about getting any tattoos right now, I encourage you to get them non-visible, meaning that they are non-visible in uniform. And uniform is going to be a polo shirt about this high, so a sleeve, full sleeve's not going to work. And you know, and girls and boys are going to be wearing shorts above the knee, so anything about, you know, below the knee is visible in uniform. Anything on your neck, girls, even if you have long hair, if you have a tattoo on the back of your neck, it's still visible in uniform, because your hair is not going to be down when you're serving guests.
Perfect. Okay. Let's go to, I think somebody just donated $2. Thank you so much. I think that means you can go for a beer. That's amazing. Thanks, Joey.
Where's a beer $2 in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, that's also true. Okay. Age. Ooh, this is a tough one. I know nothing about this.
Okay.
Let's go. I know how too young is. Too young is if you're not 18 yet. 18
you.
is still young, okay, but it's possible. It's just you've got no previous experience except high school. So I think that's kind of difficult.
I also just think this industry can be a bit of a shock to the system for an
massive
18-year-old. I mean, I joined it at 23, and I think even my eyes were plates for the first year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was 19 years old on a tiny catamaran, earning next to nothing because I love the experience. So what I mean is gain as much experience. Like, what if you are before 18? What if you're 16, 15, 14, whatever it is? Start sailing. Learn how to sail. Go and work at a boat yard. Go and work at somewhere that's delivering whatever, anything.
Detail your dad's car. Detail mom's car.
Totally.
These are all practices or tasks that could be mundane.
Yeah.
Girls in South Africa, boys in South Africa, wash the dishes. All that in. I know I had, very limited dishwashing experience before I joined yachting, just based on, South Africa and how it works there and how you have help.
It's not that we don't wash dishes in South Africa, Joe. Okay?
Well, I'm saying we have help doing it.
No,
you know what I mean?
So what I'm trying to say is that there's an age restriction, and 18 is definitely the youngest, I believe, that is possible to come into this industry.
It's the legal age.
It's the legal age, but even then, I suggest getting some service experience or working in an environment that you're learning how to do as many practical things as possible. So that's one side of it. Old age, right? Like, what's your maximum age? I don't know if there's a maximum
age. There's a boat for everyone. Every boat is looking for something different. I think there's a lot of people come into the industry above 30 thinking that they're too old to join the industry.
I get this all the time. I'm 30 years old. Am I too late?
Guys, I'm 30 years old. I could join this industry like this, but especially with this, I call my invisible toolbox that I've accumulated in life now.
Yeah. But what about somebody with no yachting experience? You can still join at 30.
Absolutely. Look at the girl we interviewed today. Did you not say to me that we need to place her, or I need to place her quickly because she's going to get scooped up? She is, 100%. And she's 30.
Yeah. So no, I've had guys message me at much older, 45. I think it's also a difficult question. There's just going to be less chance of it happening, right? But there's still totally a possibility of getting a job at an older
I have a boat at the moment, Jared, that I'll show it to you tomorrow, but they're looking for people only over 30.
Enjoy your channel. Go have a burger with the beer. It's $20.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's not my Kevin, is it?
I don't think so.
No.
It would be your money.
Jeez, Kev. On the budget, babe.
Thanks very much. But, okay, so where were we?
Age, yeah.
You can put it to bed. It's not a massive restriction. It's just one of those situations where if you're 45, 50, there's just less boats out there that might be interested. That being said, you just never know.
Listen, we have a job description that we get from our clients or our hiring party, and whatever the brief is and the parameters are for that role, that's what we're working towards. Right. And as I said, I've got this position. They're looking for people over 30 because they don't want what they call the millennial mindset. Yeah, they don't want people constantly on their phones. Not saying that that's what all millennials are, but that's what I constantly am hearing. Give me someone who's got a little bit of a skill set, who's not drama, who's not looking to just go out on the party.
Older age sometimes comes with loyalty because you know what you're looking for. And so if you are slightly older and people are looking to hire that, they probably realize they're going to get the person that they're looking for a while. Especially
a little bit more stability.
A little bit more stability. Okay, so for now, there's one more thing I'm going to do quickly, which is going to be quite interesting. There's 108 of you watching at the moment. crewusa@bluewateryachting.com. crewusa@bluewateryachting.com is the email address. We're going to print out a CV while we're sitting here in front of you. We're going to go through one of them. So if you'd like to send your CVs, or you're looking to get into this industry, or perhaps already are, my suggestion, drop those CVs into that mail address right now, and right at the end, we're going to print one out. We're going to go through it if that's okay with you.
That's okay.
Okay. No pressure. If you don't want to do that now, that's no worries. I'm not going to tear your CV apart. Neither is Joanne. It's more just about advice and showcasing somebody who's watching right now as to what they can do. And I think that might be beneficial.
And please note that at that point, obviously, we're going to have to show the resume. So
of course.
Okay.
So your face is going to be on here as well. So you're more than welcome to do that. But please, let's jump into some questions. If you have posted a question already, please copy and paste it and repost it down below. I'd like to get into some of this. I did see somebody coming here, 60-year-old registered nurse with a love of boating. Hire me. You'd be surprised with the nurses, to be honest. Like, that's a massive thing. If you've got kids that are coming.
If you have a nurse certification, I have a file where it's called My Unicorns. It's when jobs like that come in, I have very few registered nurses.
That's what I'm saying. So that's awesome.
Age, experience, all of that is irrelevant.
Bradley, you have to go study now. Good luck for everything. Thanks so much for tuning in. Okay, I've just finished my maritime high school and maritime college. Oh, it's moving, so it's hard to read. And I'd like to join a yacht, but don't know if I have to start as a deckhand or if I can start in the bridge as a cadet officer. Brilliant question. Let's talk about this. So there's two opportunities. You can go into cadetship, or say you've come from a commercial background. I think the answer is going to apply to both, because you've come from an environment where you've got a much bigger ticket than what most starting crew have. So now you've got a big ticket, or you've got extensive experience in a commercial background. You want to come into yachting. I'll let you speak first, and then I'll add my 2 cents.
All right, so I would say that you will not go straight into the bridge, first of all.
You won't go straight to being a captain regardless?
No.
Okay.
You
Why?
have to, because you have to be able to teach the people below you how to do the job.
Same answer.
All right? So someone who comes in with these really large tickets may progress a lot faster than people coming in without it, because you understand that side of things. But you need to be able to understand the overall operations of a yacht. So different to commercial. It's a complete opposite of commercial. Commercial is functionality. Yachting needs to look like no one's ever used this boat ever, even the engine room.
Things like cleaning windows with certain products, which teak requires which products, which stainless needs certain products, all that sort of stuff you would have never learned from a different position. You can't just jump to that and then teach those below you if you've never understood it or done it yourself. So unfortunately, product knowledge is a massive part of it, or know how to deal with guests of extreme wealth. There's all sorts of stuff like that comes with it. So you're going to progress.
The teamness of it, like you guys coming from the commercial background, you guys have a job and that's what you do. Whereas in yachting, you're on charter. We've got the engineers and the captain washing dishes, because the girls are busy making, the most crazy desserts, helping the chef make honey stand up into the shape of the, the logo of the boat. So literally, this is what we're doing.
Not a joke.
It's not a joke.
No,
yeah.
really.
So you've got your captain busy washing dishes. You've got your chief engineer busy drying dishes. You've got your deckhand busy running plates back and forward. You've got 4 other deck crew busy holding the plates so that we can all place the food down at the same time, synchronized. Yeah.
So my suggestion in that circumstance is get started, and in fact, you're going to be hired, snapped up quickly if you've got a massive ticket and you're looking for a deckhand position. So get in early and learn as fast as you can and progress quickly. But to jump straight into the bridge, be humble. You only know a quarter of the job.
Yeah,
also be humble, be teachable. You don't know everything because you haven't been in the yachting industry. And even if you do know everything, you should always go in with the attitude of not knowing everything, because you will learn something. So I really think it's a big part of it, is the fact that people think working on a yacht is the same job as working in other aspects of maritime or maritime industry. That's not the same, same circumstance. So I really hope that answered your question. It was a long one, but I've been wanting to get to that for a while. If I missed your question, please repost, but I just saw one now saying, should people put their picture on their CV? Actually, interesting question, because the yachting
it's a requirement, in the yachting industry, yes.
Right. Why? And we're going to get onto that in an entire separate topic, I think.
But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's owner's preference.
That's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
The captain doesn't make a decision necessarily all the time. It's going to be up to what the owner is looking for their boat. They're surrounded by their family, and it's up to them to decide. So that's a quick answer of yes. Nick Palmer. What's your favorite place to go to? I'm going to skip that one for a second. Are crew hired by their looks? Same answer. John, I don't know if that's the only requirement. I don't think so for sure. Or not the only.
Listen, some boats are like that. I mean, I interviewed on a boat before where I was too big for the boat, and that was when I was much smaller than I am now, because I was physical. I was size 6. I was too big for the boat. Whereas then, I've been heavier, I've been smaller. It's never been an issue. I think that yes, of some degree there will always be preference, but it's not every boat.
But there's nothing you can do about it.
But I could give you an example, actually. This is quite funny. I've got a really big boat. She's 400 feet or just under.
Right. You're not talking about a person.
No. Okay. No, but all the deck crew are required to be 6'2" plus. Why? Because of the deck heads. How tall are the deck heads? Okay. So it's not about that's what the owner wants. You can't reach the deck head to wash it if you're not that tall.
To answer your question in summary, sometimes yes, sometimes it really doesn't matter. Yeah. Best owner operator safety course. Paul V. Paul's a boat owner.
Okay.
So that's a really good question, because sometimes.
Can you redo the question? Best
owner/operator safety course. Safety meaning on board as a skipper, or what? Because if that's your question, I'd still suggest doing the Yachtmaster, because you're going to go through a variety of everything.
Yeah.
I hope that helps. Let me know if you're interested. Just getting to, okay, do you want me to stop? That was something else. This was good. Does having military background help with employment, maybe security-wise for yacht?
Yes.
I know there's a company that help for ex-Royal Marines.
Yes.
It does help. Security.
Especially my big boats.
Exactly, the bigger boats. Security is definitely a risk on board yachts, and so if you've got that kind of background, for sure.
I put a guy with 0 day work even on a 115 plus meter recently because he wasn't in the military. The discipline that comes along with it, and of course the licenses.
How hard is it to find a job as a deckhand after gaining the essential skills and qualifications? I'm debating on doing a 2-week deckhand super yacht course. Or
you're doing a blue water.
It says or the 4-year cadetship. So Sam, that's a massive difference, man. Like you're talking about going into 4 years of cadetship or wondering how hard it's going to be. I think the majority of people don't go to the 4-year cadetship. They start with their STCW, their powerboat licenses, the ENG ones, and then sorry, 2 cutest dogs just walked past.
You think they're cute?
Anyway, so to answer the question, how hard is it to find a deckhand? Depends on you, Sam. It's going to depend on
your attitude, your availability, location,
everything. How eager you are, how willing you are to get out there, meet people all the time. Networking is a massive thing. Go to as many of the crew events that you have as possible. It's something that I've seen here for the first time in Lauderdale. We've had like 4 crew events of just get-togethers.
And we didn't even go to the one last night because I think we were both too tired to go to that one.
So it's get to those type of things. But is it difficult? Right time, right place, and you've got to put yourself in the right time, right place, and that's what it's about.
And also, I always get asked this question: is how long is it going to take? Exactly how long is it going to take until you get me a job? I don't know. When there's a job available and you fit the description and the brief, then you'll be submitted.
Right. Just finished school. I'm 19 years old, doing my Yachtmaster Coastal, going into the industry as a deckhand.
Good for you doing that already at 19.
That's awesome, man. I recommend you doing that for sure. If you've built up your miles already, then that's fantastic. If this is something, it sounds like you already know that you really want to get into this. So it sounds like you're on the right track. Piercings.
Yeah. Facial piercings.
Same thing, right? You're just removing your chance.
Just take your facial piercings out. I know very, very little positions that would be happy with facial piercings.
Right. Yeah, same. Paul, you said life rafts, firefighting, etc. The STCW course, you have to do it regardless. It's going to help you with everything.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to have the RYA certificates, or can you have your country certificates that are under the STCW convention?
That is, you see, I do crew placement. We have blue water yacht crew training. So answer or questions that are training related or license related, I have a very, very limited knowledge on, and I would prefer to give you the right information.
Yeah.
So
there are specific requirements sometimes for yachting. When I'm in the STCW 10, there are some people that are going commercial and there are guys going in yachting. So there's one course in that regard that is very similar.
It has to be MCA regulated.
It has to be MCA, exactly. Yeah. If I had a boat,
excuse me.
Yeah, will you put that down? I got a phone ringing there. Should you employ a hostess with no certificate, but with previous experience? What do you mean by no certificate? Because there are a few that you have to do. What's going on there? Yeah. Are one of the subscribers phoning in? Is that what's happening? I hope not. You should answer and just find out if maybe it's a subscriber. It'd be really funny. Charter boat would. I need to chart. It says here, charter a boat. Would charter company have the crew and the owner have the boat? Please, I need to know. I don't really understand your question, Brylan. You're gonna have to ask that again. STCW Septicals, very interested in getting into the industry, but from Canada, what should my next step be? I'm 22 years old. Once you've got your certification, it really is just as important to get yourself to.
Is this one of your subscribers?
Find out.
You know what? This is Joanne. How can I help you?
It can't be a subscriber.
You have the wrong number, and Bluewater is actually closed until Monday 9 a.m.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. This phone is ringing off the hook the whole time. I just want to get back to that question.
No.
Once you have done your training, once you have got your certification and your ENG, it's super important to get to a yachting hub. So Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Antibes in France, Palma, Mallorca. So my suggestion is once you've got that certification, you've got to try and make your way down there so that you can network and meet the right people and get into as many of the boating areas as possible. I'm distracted by the phone in the back. John, I'm an experienced PADI diver with the certification. My age is 58. Would that be an issue?
Yes, absolutely. What is my
Diver,
name?
you just said experienced PADI diver. What sort of certification? Because if you've got the instructors or the dive master, it's going to make a massive difference. So depending on how extensive your experience is, no, I definitely think, I mean, your age is 58. Once again, it's really hard for me to comment on that because I haven't worked on a boat necessarily where there's much older crew.
Okay.
That being said, I've had engineers at 60. I've had engineers at 60 plus. So I really wouldn't worry too much about it, especially if your experience is vast. But you need to have those dive masters and instructors. Thank you so much, by the way, for buying another burger, effectively. Thanks, John. I sent you my CV. Let me know, because we got one in the inbox.
Who was that from?
10.
Yes, I actually opened that now.
You did?
Okay. And then the phone.
Would the charter company provide the crew if I had the boat?
So that's bareback chartering, and that's different. It's not generally something myself.
You could though, if you find
we can do that,
you
but
can.
that's an Amy question.
Okay, that's a different. So yes, but the answer is yes. You could definitely do something like that. Okay. Help these kids make a bit of. That's so funny. Thanks, Kevin. I thought it was
Kevin?
No, different Kevin. What would be the best way to get on the Volvo ocean race boat? You need to have extensive training in sailing.
Extensive, and that's where your recreational sailing comes in, because they're looking for people who are passionate about sailing. People who have been sailing since they were like 5 years old.
That's so funny. Okay. Was the placement agent responsible for finding crew for the TV program Below Deck?
No, but this placement agent was asked to be a part of Below Deck.
Yeah,
and I was like,
true.
no.
That's so funny.
We generally would, we have been asked to do that before, but that's, not something that we focus on.
What's next? Can I still get some day work in the Med if the season is coming to an end?
Well, the season's just starting.
The season's just starting. So let's talk about boat seasons. Let's talk about the season's effective, not...
I was about to say, the seasons keep shifting.
I realize, but I'm talking about Fort Lauderdale's always got a boating scene.
Yeah.
Okay, but
always.
so does Palmer and Antigua or the Med to some degree. But let's talk about when they are the most busy.
Okay.
So when does it really kick off here in for hiring side? Because effectively the charter time and the time where crew are arriving are quite different,
yes.
right? So let's talk about that. When are guys starting to arrive here, give or take, for the Caribbean season?
I would say people start arriving here at the end of September, October, which I think is a little bit early.
Okay.
It's good for entry-level crew to come in. I would say your more seasoned crew, it's a little bit early.
Right.
Entry-level, it's safe because you then have time to accumulate some day work, create your profile, develop your rapport with your agencies,
Right.
really get some proper face time.
Right.
But I also encourage them not to come too early, because then you sit and crew housing costs money and not all the boats are in town.
Fair enough.
So generally speaking, the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, which is at the end of November, normally, or beginning of November, sorry. That's when it's the biggest show, I would say, in our side of the pond.
Right. So boats are constantly looking for people to get the boats ready, to be on board, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah?
And then, straight after that, they start going into their Thanksgiving trips. So we call them the 911 Thanksgiving orders.
Okay.
And then there's, Christmas, New Year. So a lot of our boats go down island and they come back.
Okay.
There's a lot of crew changeover just after Christmas, New Year. A lot of entry-level crew are like, whoa, don't know what I was getting myself signed into.
But now mid-December is like full gung-ho.
Full gung-ho, yeah. Generally, we have less boats in Fort Lauderdale at that time, because they're down island or in the Bahamas and coming back and forward.
Right.
There's a lot of movement.
Mm-hmm.
At this time of the year now, mid-April, some of my boats will start crossing to the Med. But it's still a little bit early.
Huh.
I mean, it's still snowing in some of the Med right now.
Yes, yeah.
So not most ideal time. I would say another couple weeks to a month.
Okay.
Crews start heading over there. But that being said, it's also the start of our spring season.
Start of the spring, yeah, I realize.
So we are really busy. We have all the boats that are going up New York, Martha's Vineyard, the Hamptons, Sag Harbor.
That's what I'm saying. This has got a constant boating hub here.
All the time.
All the time.
It's all the time. It's never really ends. I mean, we do go under what we call hurricane season. So there's less boats out down island, just based on insurance won't cover them to be down island at that time. I don't know if you guys followed Irma a few years ago. That was hectic. So
I want to touch on the types of jobs or the situations that come up prior to the season. So normally crew arrive, normally the majority of them at the time, they start looking for work, and some of them get placed, but then say it kicks off into the summer, some of them resign, and some of them get fired because they weren't capable. So even once a charter summer has kicked off in the Med and Caribbean, they will look for emergency crew to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, the most movement that there is on a boat is in the entry-level capacity.
Right.
Because of this, people come into the industry not understanding what they're getting themselves into, or maybe, as I said, you thought you wanted 50-meter charter, but you don't.
You don't.
And you actually want to, learn, from a smaller team or a bigger team. So there's a lot more movement on the entry level. I call it the entry level shuffle.
Makes perfect sense.
Can I just close this?
Yeah, it's getting kind of bright in here. Does the owner pay for airplane tickets for the crew to get to the yacht for the first time?
If they have the right visa.
It's going to depend where you're coming from sometimes. Like, for example, some owners might prefer to just hire crew that are already in Fort Lauderdale than fly somebody out from Australia.
Yes, but for instance, those sought after dive masters and dive instructors, I'll give you an example. We had a job order that came in on the 2nd of January. I opened up the order on the 2nd of January. I submitted a candidate on the 3rd of January. He got offered the position on the 4th of January. And then on that evening, he shattered his shoulder. And my boat waited 3 months and paid for his ticket to come over, and he joined last week. Because they were waiting for that dive master with that personality, and they'd spoken to him on the phone, and I had checked his references. They'd come back clean, and his references from a land-based position.
Right. It just shows if you can separate yourself or set yourself apart to some degree in another capability, it's really beneficial.
It also changes your, so I wish, Kev, my husband who's watching, hi Kev, I wish that this was information that we had, because it would have changed his understanding or his flavor of yachting.
Yeah, totally.
So think about it, you've got 4 deck crew and they're all busy, shammying the decks and getting the boat ready, and you're diving a underwater volcano with the boss.
Right, I see what you're saying. Like, you also get attracted to those most insane jobs that are out there to go and explore and do expeditions.
Absolutely.
And stuff like this, if you set yourself apart in whatever environment you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
So I do really recommend that type of stuff. Would I have the upper hand if I had to do the Cape to Rio race on my CV? That's interesting. Cape to Rio, I imagine you're talking Cape Town. So if you're there right now, Aiden, any experience is good experience when it comes to boating, right? You do that, you've got 6 weeks at sea already, man. I seriously recommend having something like that. It showcases your sailing abilities. Now you're opening up a whole different bracket, power and sail, because you're capable of doing both. So will it help?
Maybe you realize you love the sailing.
Will it help? Absolutely. Totally, man.
And it'll get you a free ride over here.
Do crew work in the Middle East?
Yeah, there's a lot of boats based in, there's a lot of money in Dubai.
Yeah, big time. So to answer that question straight away, for sure. What availabilities are there with a STCW at the moment? My friend is from Cape Town wondering. Are you talking about here? Because right now I'm with Blue Water.
Yeah, we've got lots of availability. Generally, you have to book in advance, because I say we have lots of availability. We have a lot of available classes coming up, but they do book up very quickly.
Especially this time of year before the Med and all that. Have you found crew members for a boat operating on the US Great Lakes? Have you ever found crew members for a boat operating on the US Great Lakes?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and that's the one that I'm looking for someone who's over 30. The boat's actually doing the Great Loop.
Right. They just so you, I don't even know if you know the number. How many registered boats have you got? 300 plus, right?
For the one account.
Just for the one account.
Yeah.
So do you want to just quickly dive into that to some degree? Some boats, okay, this is from my perspective, okay? Some boats, almost like a subscription to some degree to Blue Water Yachting, that allow them to hire crew without constantly paying Blue Water Yachting. It's a yearly subscription.
Yeah.
It's a yearly subscription.
It's for owners and captains that are hands-on and have the time to search for their own crew, but need the toolbox, which we have, which is the database.
Right. So as an example, if you're on a charter boat, sometimes there's high turnover. Crew can't always handle it. And so people are coming and going and coming and going, coming and going all the time, which is an expensive operation for a boat. So Blue Water Yachting started something called the One Account, which allows boats to be able to pick and choose their own crew through the database
with an unlimited amount.
With an unlimited amount and constantly hire new crews. So that's one way that sometimes a boat will just go into Blue Water's database and start searching for crew without you even knowing it.
Exactly. We got a chef who came in today to congratulate or to say thank you for his new job, and we had a look, and it's one that we did put him forward for it, but it was on a one account. They had kind of put an assisted search in. Just to give you the one account grasp, basically it's a crew placement and training bundle that the boat buys.
Right.
So average boat, 130 foot, pays $6,200. They get $6,200 available at our training school, anyone worldwide,
so they
for free.
Yeah, right. And they get unlimited crew placement
for 12 months.
So
and a free iPad to use their one account.
That's one way of doing it. But the other way is that if crew are not being turned over all the time, then a captain will just phone Blue Water Yachting, look for a crew member, and pay them accordingly per crew.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's how Blue Water.
And let's just settle that quickly while we're talking about fees and stuff. It doesn't cost you guys any money to be registered with
100%.
us. It doesn't cost you any money to get placed with us. If let's say you come in looking for a deckhand position or a mate's position, I'm going to submit you for the position. You'll interview if you get the position.
Right.
Blue Water will receive the placement fee. It doesn't come from your salary. It never costs you a cent.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about, because I know some people are worried that coming to the career agent is going to cost them something. When in fact, I see computers here that you can log in and do whatever it is that you need to do. There's a printer over there. So, I mean, you've really made like a little place for people to come in.
Well, we understand that crew are coming over, for example, from South Africa, from Australia, and sometimes they don't come over with all of their stuff. You want to come over with just your backpack. So we make it as easy as possible. We have 2 laptops available for you guys to come and check in and update your stuff. Okay.
So let's see, more boats get built, bigger boats, more crew positions get available. Do you see an increase new crew over the years of joining the industry? That's a super interesting question. And that is actually from your husband.
Thanks, Kev.
It's a really good question. I mean, there's more boats now than there ever were, but there's also more crew, in my opinion, now than there ever were. So,
absolutely.
I think there's definitely more positions available, and the bigger the boats, the more junior positions there are.
Absolutely, because you've got 13 deck crew and 20 interior crew, or just for an example. That being said, I have definitely noticed an increase in entry-level crews since we started really giving our entry crew like all of this attention, because we really understand that you guys are the next generation of captains and chief stews.
It was a really good question. Thanks, Kevin. Where could I get more info to let him know? Dean, I've been answering a couple of questions. I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
Dean, are you referring to
he's talking about the STCW.
Yeah, so you would just email crewusa@bluewateryachting.com and just put your request in there, and we'll get to it, and I'll refer you to the right appropriate department.
Do you know how many yachts are in the BVIs? No, it's impossible, but there's a lot. Many South African crews chartering to something about. Okay, but there's no question there, Dean. You need to have a question, bro. Are you guys all having fun? I am. This is a good stem. Good. Thank you very much, Harry.
Harry with your cheese.
Would you ever work on a cruise ship? That's an interesting one. Because a lot of people. What about guys that have worked on cruise ships? It helps, right?
It helps because you understand, boats.
Yeah.
But it really is different, because with the cruise ship you're catering to a few thousand, whereas here you literally are catering to the boss. You've got, think about it, on an average boat, you sleep 12. You have generally in between 8 to 12. You've got 1 crew member per person, whereas on a cruise ship it's completely different.
Marco, we did answer this question. Are there cadet positions existing on a yacht? That's where we're saying you've already got so much experience in a different environment. You really need to get basic experience on a yacht and then work your way up faster. Otherwise, you might have to watch all 58 minutes of this again, because we did cover it quite extensively. You have nice hair. I think he's talking about you.
No, it's definitely you. That's all this. I've had it up all day, but thank you if you're talking to me.
Do you recruit ship security officer roles? Like Joanne said, not solely ship security officer.
Sometimes they're looking for a deck crew member that is going to be their security officer.
Okay, so both. But
let's say you're going through like a channel of water that was deemed unsafe by the flagship, then definitely require X amount of security personnel on board, or you've got a high profile boss most of the time.
This is actually a good one, because you're giving us an example. I don't know how to say your name. How would you say that?
Mawas?
Mawas. How do I present my experience working as a sailor on a Croatian wooden ship with 20 guests on board, The cook, captain, and me, does it count as yacht work? Does it count as yacht work? Can I say I day worked 1 season, 3 weeks, 3 groups? It all counts, man. Like, it's maritime experience. You're working on boats. So
yeah, it's maritime experience, not yachting.
Not yachting experience.
But you
it's
have maritime experience.
Yeah. So you would mention it as maritime experience and what you did on that particular vessel. Will it help you? Yes.
And even if, like, and while we're talking about that, even if you have a family-owned speedboat or anything in that capacity, then it's recreational maritime experience, also relevant.
Oh, perfect. Did you hear that? If you've been on a boat and you've done in that environment,
not like rented a boat or gone skiing somewhere, but if your family has like a sailboat, not a sailboat, like a speedboat or skiing or wakeboarding boats. I mean, to some degree, you have some sort of understanding.
Because you probably taught people how to wakeboard to some
or you know how to do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously you're not going to put that on their skill set, but it's a skill set.
I want to ask about B1, B2. How can I get the visa if boats don't hire without it and the visa isn't given until the contract is in hand of a boat? Why am I getting ignored? You're not getting ignored.
I'll answer that because B1, B2, okay. First of all, it's the one topic I really, really do not like talking about because it's immigration. It's immigration. So that being said, I will work case by case. If you want to email me at the end with your question, we can talk about that. But generally speaking, I don't like to get into visas.
I agree. I suggest sending an email, perhaps, or coming in and having a chat.
Or pick up the phone and give me a call. We can chat about your specific case.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, and this is my experience, you are getting a job on a boat that is not necessarily based in America or in this and in that. You've really got to realize the fact that you're looking for employment outside of, but you still can't look for employment within America. So you need to bear that in mind. It's a touchy subject, and it's not one that anybody can necessarily answer directly. It's a touchy one. Tips for dock walking. That's a good one, Finn.
If you are not a U.S. passport holder or green
card holder. Let's talk about worldwide version of docking.
Well,
so first, not just America, right?
I'm going to talk America first because we're an American-based company in my office.
Okay.
But it's illegal for a foreign crew to dock walk within the United States.
Correct.
Flat out.
Yeah.
There are some gray areas in Europe. I think they're a lot more lenient. Myself, South African passport holder, had zero issue dock walking in Europe. That being said, I can't go ahead and say that it's legal, but they're not looking for that. Whereas here, they're looking for that. Over here, they'll catch it.
The tips for dock walking, you've got to treat it as if you're trying to meet as many people as you can. At the end of the day,
tips. Sorry, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So one thing that I've noticed is that when you're approaching a boat, you don't want to go in there leading like you're looking for a permanent job. Why? Because you're handing your resume to the deckhand who essentially you're trying to replace.
True. Also true. 100% true. Actually,
so you need to word it really well. You need to be as like, hi there, available for day work, looking to develop my skill set. Please pass this along to your first mate, or do you need any help on deck? At that point, you've got more chance in your resume getting to an HOD, head of department, than it going straight into the dumpster because that deckhand knows that
you're trying to replace
him. So you've got to be tactical.
I think day work, to put a sum up of it, say a boat arrives from a crossing, and the boss is going to arrive in 3 days, and the crew don't have the availability to get everything done necessarily as fast as they'd like. So they look for a little bit of assistance. That's effectively one example of day work, right? And when that takes place, how are you going to be the person that's there at the right time? Well, unfortunately, sometimes it is about being there at the right time. It's the guys that are on the dock all the time. Therefore, when you are dock walking in an environment which allows you to, for immigration purposes and all that, it's about being in front of as many people as possible, networking, realizing and having that urge of being like, I'm here to learn, I'm here, I'm ready, not just once, the next day as well. But Jared, I dock walk there and nobody's interested in looking. But
don't be too proud to
the
dock
next
walk.
day and the next day and the next day. Don't be too proud. People are like, it feels like begging sometimes, right? But you're there to go, hey guys, if you need a hand, my name's Jared.
Why would you not be begging for this position? I mean, it's the most elite industry to get into, with the most, specialized. With I don't know, I find it so frustrating with crew that are really, really the urgency of getting a job. I get it, it's running out of money, but if you're looking for a land-based position, it's never as easy and quick as they somehow think it is going to be to find a job on a yacht.
Yeah.
This is one of the 1% of the world that own these yachts and have crew. I mean, it's a very, very, very tailored industry.
It's a super tailored industry. Tips are put yourself in front of as many people as you can. Don't be afraid to go back a second time. Don't just use the same script. Like, I really mean that. If you see somebody doing something, go, hey man, I just want to understand how you did that, because if I find myself in that position, I'd like to know, or what knots are you tying to do that, and start getting into conversation with people, as opposed to going, hi, are you looking for crew? Because if they're not, then that, it's the wrong question. Would you need some help in the upcoming weeks? I'm around. Things like that are going to help you out a lot. I'm going to get back into some questions. What if you have a mild skin condition? It's the same question as, do you put your picture on your CV? It's going to depend solely up to the owner, right? I mean, I don't think it's a massive issue.
Well, I mean, you know your limitations when it comes to a skin condition. If like, for instance, I mean, what is a skin condition?
Like, pimples,
if you have, skin condition meaning pimples and stuff like that, then that's not a problem.
No, exactly.
If you have like an allergy to sun, that's going to be an issue.
It could be a problem.
If you have sensitive skin and are allergic to strong products and cleaning stuff, then that may be an issue, because you are going to be around some really strong products.
I got a good question. Can women work as deckhands?
Absolutely. Why not?
100%. And that's definitely happening a lot.
Absolutely. You just need to make sure that you have the qualifications that are required for that role. It's got nothing to do with if you're a girl or boy. One of the best chief officers my husband and I worked under was a female. And I mean, she was incredible.
Other than your required CV competencies such as STCW, Powerbit, etc., what would you say your top 3 qualities on a CV are that are most attractive, depending on the position, Wesley?
I like a clear, concise career objective. I like a strong skill set, and I want at least 2 references that I can check.
Boom. What's next? What under the contract is there a family emergency? How is the situation handled? John, boats are actually sometimes more understanding than you think. There was a situation where I had to leave the day before a charter on Christmas Day, and the guy said, hey man, I totally understand. Family emergencies take place. I was in a lucky environment. Is that always going to happen? No. It's going to be dependent on the captain and the type of person, or the owner and that circumstance. Is there a possibility of an emergency taking place and you having to make that decision? Make the decision if you really need to leave the boat. And that's a tough thing to say, but we're talking about your family here, so there's certainly circumstances
and generally speaking, your boat will consider you as family too, to some degree, and that they take that on board just as hard as you do sometimes.
How much time off do you get annually? That's from Dean. Depending on the boat, I'd say minimum is.
Well, that's okay. So yeah, minimum you if it's a US flag vessel that is run like a US flag business, it could be limited to 2 weeks. Most boats minimum. Most boats will give you, most boats on average will give you your 30 days paid leave. Correct. Plus 30 days available to you unpaid leave, and that is not including your sick days.
Not including your sick days.
No.
Okay. At what length can a boat be self-manned? That's a tough question. I don't know.
That's a bit of a tough question for my more senior placement coordinator. Sorry.
Hi guys, you're doing awesome. What is the salary guidelines for entry-level positions? Gabby, we are going to actually put up a salary guidelines. We've got one here. But
I mean, I also don't mind just touching on it. Entry level, it really depends, because there's different types of programs. So you've got a private program and a charter program. Private meaning the owner only uses the boat and doesn't rent it out. Charter meaning that the owner rents that boat out essentially to other people too. So essentially your charter programs offer a little bit of a less monthly salary than a privately owned vessel.
Because of tips sometimes.
Yes. So entry level, I'm going to talk about basic dollars. Entry level about $2,800, $2,800 plus medical, plus a flight home. Regardless, that's kind of a general. And that can also go up to $3,500, $3,500, depending on the experience, skill set they're looking for, and budget that the boat has for its crew.
No difference between interior and exterior, basic starting out.
Very, very little. I would say that sometimes the interior has a little bit more.
A little bit more. That's interesting. Okay, but that's probably because you're dealing with clients more face-to-face sometimes,
yeah.
Right? Okay, so I hope that helped.
Like a little bit, like maybe 100, 200 difference.
This is an impossible question, Izzy, to some degree. How long does it usually take for someone with not much experience to get a job on a yacht?
I can't tell the future, honey.
Because it's so hard.
It's based on it's really on you and the jobs coming in. We don't know right now about a junior stew on 3 of the boats down in the marina that are not doing a good job. We don't know that the owner or the captain is looking to replace them until they phone me.
Right. What are the basic certificates needed for a job in a position? STCW, ENG1. Nothing more is necessarily required. I do sometimes recommend having a few more though.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Are there preferred passports? Not South African. Sorry, I'm only saying that because I'm on a South African passport.
And I
have
had one for so long. Yeah.
Are there preferred passports? Yes, everywhere in the world. The same way that if you're on certain passports, you can just enter most places freely. Whatever is least difficult for the captain to have to keep up to date.
Before you join the industry, look, like all you need to do is go onto Wikipedia, put your passport in and see what visas you require for what countries.
Right.
You know, do your research. Due diligence is super, super important at this time, you know, when you're doing a massive career change or joining the industry.
Marco says, I have 3 years experience as a skipper on a week charters on sailboats and motor yachts, 45 to 55. Can you apply for a skipper/captain on smaller yachts up to 25 meters, or is that a high position to apply? Absolutely, in my opinion. You've done 3 years as a captain on board boats. You just limited to a certain size because of your tickets and experience.
Yeah.
Boom. Do you need to know how to swim, John?
Yes.
That would really make a difference. I'm not even trying to be funny, but there's an opportunity where a guest falls overboard. There's nobody else around. You need to be able to swim. I mean, you're on water. I really would suggest.
I highly encourage you to be able to swim if you're going to work on a boat.
Would it be beneficial to invest in qualifications to climb the yacht crew ladder, or does starting at the bottom and working up mean more? 50-50?
It's 50-50. Some of my captains don't want what they call zero to hero. They actually want you to develop that skill set, you know, over time. But then again, also some flag states require a yacht master for an entry-level deckhand, and the only way to get that is to do like a crossing from Cape Town to the US with zero experience on a boat, but you have that license.
Is there a union for yacht employers? There are actually.
For yacht employers or yacht crew?
Oh, well, I was saying yacht crew in my opinion. Yes, there is for yacht crew.
For yacht crew, there's the MLC.
Yeah.
So only, you know, educate yourself what MLC stands for. It's Maritime Labor Convention, and what it means for you as a crew member, and make sure that the agencies that you register with are MLC compliant. This means you have a union to fall back on. And then to take it further, there's a company called Nautilus, and they basically are, I think you pay, it's under $200 US a year. And they basically are a maritime attorney for you if you ever get yourself into a pickle, which could happen at any time of your career, and then you have someone to fall back on.
They actually just saved the crew a lot of money on Indian Empress. Do you remember that? They've literally just retrieved hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros to give back to the crew. So yes, it definitely does exist.
It's worth it.
Love you, super interesting. Thank you. You skipped a question about seeing celebrities or having celebrities on a charter yacht. Does this happen very often?
So in all honesty, celebrities can't afford to own yachts. They can afford to charter them.
It's funny, actually.
Yeah, I think Beyonce and Jay-Z are an exception.
Yeah.
Because they are, I think, just under a billionaire. It costs on average 10% of the total value of your vessel.
Just to run it.
Just to run it.
So yeah.
And yeah, so you've got what a $30 million yacht, which is really not that much in the owner's yacht size, and that's $3 million to run it per year. So a lot of these celebrities are running off what we call like sponsorships.
But you do see them on boats, on charter boats.
I mean, I've seen Bono. I've seen.
I got a kiss from Paris Hilton, not a kiss, a blown kiss from Paris Hilton.
I've seen Kate Moss and her boobies, but always out.
It does. You are surrounded by the who's who in the zoo, often, especially places like Monaco.
Yes.
Especially places like.
I saw Justin Bieber walk past me really quickly.
Right. You gave him a high five.
No, I don't. I'm a believer, sorry.
That's so funny. Do you charter, okay, it says, do you charter UK and Ireland? I know you've mentioned that a few times, but I don't really understand what you mean, because this is a charter company that assists boats that are chartering in areas. So I don't know if you know, but that's not the right question for Joe.
We're welcome to help you with that. If you put that in an email to the Crew USA email at Blue Water Yachting, I can direct you to our charter department.
Somebody by the name of Chicken. By the way, I'm vegetarian. How do taxes work while working on yachts? It's different for each country.
Find out from your local tax person. We also have a maritime tax attorney that we utilize here in Fort Lauderdale. So if you're US based, I can give you this information.
As an example, if you're in America, usually you're constantly paying American taxes. If you're in South Africa and you wait for more than half the year, I don't have to pay taxes to that country. So every place is different. If there was one thing you knew before you went into this career, what would it be, and what would you tell yourself? Great question.
There was one thing
that you wish you knew before entering the industry. that you know now?
I didn't need to be friends with everyone I worked with.
It's a working relationship.
It's a working relationship. I totally thought that like everyone I worked with, I needed to be best friends with, and that we're going to be best friends forever. And I totally was, that was not the case. And I found that the people I am still friends with were, people I met in my crew house, not on my boats. So it was just knowing that I don't have to be, I'm there to do a job and not to meet people.
I think for me, man, I'm going to come back to that one, but I just wish I took it in more. I wish you get so used to the lifestyle of like jumping on a boat and going to Croatia and going to Montenegro and then going down to Greece, and then sometimes you just get tired and you get over it and you take all of it for granted.
Oh my gosh, when you say, hey, I'm going to the Bahamas next week.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going back to the Bahamas. You sound like the most spoiled brat on the planet. I wish I could constantly appreciate it more. And for those that are in it, I really recommend to just like take it in. Like you're living your life and you're working hard, but you're there to enjoy the after hours as much as you can and do it. And that's what I wish I'd.
And not wishing the days away.
Not wishing the days away.
You've got the bus come on. You know that you like T-5 days until the bus comes on, and then 4, and then 3, and then the bus comes on. You're like, okay, only 14 days left.
Yeah,
and then only 13 days. And you start counting down the days. And next thing you know, you just lost 2 weeks of your life and you were really, really excited that they were gone.
How to get paid in general monthly? Is there an Ocean bank account and where can you send your money? Yeah, there is, but I think that's also going to depend on what it is you're looking for. There are bank accounts that are specialized to.
We recommend the offshore bank accounts, but it's also something that you have to have quite a large sum of money to open. So you have to have a minimum of $2,500 to keep like an offshore account open. So those are really useful for savings, but I encourage you to get an account closest to the country that you are going to be working in, as opposed to, sending it home all the time.
Axel wants to know, firstly, you got an epic name. Axel.
Axel Bain.
It sounds like a rock star.
He's a movie star. That's not your name.
Is majority of people in the industry English speaking countries? Majority of people can speak English. I think it's pretty important, but I think a skill set that's hireable is if you can speak French, Italian, Spanish
in South Florida, French in the south of France.
It helps so much if you can speak more than one other language, for sure, no question about it.
Also on charter boats.
Yeah, big time. Different guests arriving all the time. You never know what they're going to be talking about.
With like, we had a charter with a Belgian family that came on board, and my husband Kevin, he speaks fluent French, and that was super helpful. And I think that the charterers were very comfortable with him. They would tell him things different to relay to the captain and stuff like that. So he was able to develop a really, really strong rapport with the guest directly.
Yeah.
Utilizing his language.
Yeah. I think so. We've answered a lot of questions. If you have any more, I do want to encourage you to pop down. We're 1 hour 17 minutes in already. We've still got 100 people logged in. So I really appreciate you guys coming in. You're so handsome, bro. That comes from
you are. Sorry, Becca.
That's so funny. Okay, now I'm going to blush.
No, you're not blushing.
I want to try and see if we can cover some facts about crew placements before we move on, because I want to make sure that we've covered everything.
Okay, what facts would you like?
Well, Blue Water Yachting is in Fort Lauderdale and they are in Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 2 biggest yachting hubs. I just want to encourage those that are getting into the industry about signing up and coming to look at the jobs. I've just seen the guys walking in and out here all the time. If you have questions, please just do pop in and come and have a chat to Joe. I think we're going to go over that CV in a minute. I don't know if we have it.
We did.
How many? Did we get a few emails?
I don't know. I haven't looked yet.
I know not everybody's going to want to send in emails and CVs and all that, but just have a quick look. I'm going to go now. It's midnight. Thanks for commenting constantly, Harry. Much appreciated, bro. Just have a look and see. Have you got any emails? You got a couple. Okay. Okay, so we got one coming out. What mistakes do new... what a question. What mistakes do new crew all make? That's like what not to do, pretty much.
They don't thank the chef.
That's so true, because they just get given food all the time.
They've been given food and they don't realize that these are people that feed you.
I'm going to add my 2 cents. People sometimes don't like being told that they're doing something incorrectly or that they should be doing it another way, and they start getting defensive. And the worst thing crew could do is just not be teachable. Just not listen to what somebody's saying and go, okay, I see why that could be better than what I was doing, no problem, and simply move on. Even sometimes if they are wrong, if their hierarchy or the captain or whatever is saying that, you need to take it with a pinch of salt, realize that there's room for improvement, and move on. Interior and exterior. The worst thing people can do is just constantly bite back at you, going, but I was doing it this way because, or, oh, no, but this is what I should have been doing. It's a disaster and it's horrible. So
we have a problem, Jared. This guy's resume is pretty much perfect.
No way.
What would I say?
Okay, so can you see? I know everything will be backwards. Wait, are they super important? Okay, there are some personal information there. I'll give you his name. I can't give you his name. Frantisek. Your photo is great. There's boats in the background. There's blue water, right? Do you want to break this down a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, you've got your name right there. The only thing I would say you could do is add the position over there that you're looking for, even though I know you've got it there. But it's always nice to introduce yourself. It also assists the psychology behind. There's psychology behind it. Anyway, so position you're looking for, current location, perfect. You've got your telephone number, citizenship, awesome. Email, you've got your Skype. I always encourage WhatsApp too. WhatsApp is kind of the newer Skype.
Over, yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Languages, you've listed all of them. Good for you. 5 languages. That's amazing.
That's insane. That's really good.
Date of birth, perfect, available immediately. You've got visas and a European passport.
Check how he knows what he's looking for. I'm seeking a position on a 25-meter plus as a deckhand. Bang. Yes. First objective. Bang. That's like, this was a surprise, right?
This was such a surprise. Sorry. I was waiting to get like the resumes I see every day, and then I opened this one, I printed it, and you even got like the expiration dates. And this is like my biggest thing is expiration dates. It's not because I want to know when it expires. The captain wants to know why it expires, because if we take you around the world, where do we need to refresh that before you are no longer qualified?
Dive master.
Yep.
Geez, you might have a job for this guy.
I probably do.
Dive master, dive control specialist, paddy dive master. Insane, man. You've got some great silver service. Who are you?
James Bond.
Employment history straight away. Bang, deckhands, what size? This is really good. This is really impressive.
This is.
Move on to the next one. He's worked on a whole bunch of boats, so straight away onto certificates and straight into maritime experience. A variety of boats. Do I know any of these? He's worked as a deckhand dive master, reef encounter on a dive vessel in Cairns, Australia. That's insane, man. Clerk, administrator. So he's listed all of his stuff perfectly. Did you get help with your CV, or I just want to know if you can comment down here?
There he is.
Where is he? Is it?
The big smileys, yes.
How do you know that's him?
Because I looked at his email address.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then he said, "Thank you, guys."
Oh, awesome.
And he's like, "That's me, mate." Yes, okay, cool. That is you.
Can you just say what's the email?
Harry, are you gonna send me cheese to my email?
Yeah, maybe that's not a good idea. But it's crew@bluewateryachting.com. crewusa@bluewateryachting.com.
Yes, crewusa@bluewateryachting.com.
Did you get help with your CV?
No, he didn't. In capital letters above Harry.
Okay, really impressive, dude. Professional profile at the bottom, references, happy days. Good luck. I wish you all the best. If anybody watching this is looking for a crew member currently, get in touch with Joanne. We've got his CV right here. Just pop a message and an email.
You're going straight onto Terry's desk, and she does the more senior deck positions because you've got the deckhand mate, you've got a license. Myself and Terry will know about you on Monday morning.
Congratulations, man. So that was really worthwhile sending through your CV. If anybody else would like to do that, I'd recommend doing that one more. Maybe we'll print out one more.
Let me see if I've got. The only thing I would say is just check capital M.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
please point that out.
Under your objective, it says maintenance of sea bobs and other water sports. It just needs a capital M on the maintenance. Sweet, man. That was awesome. That was not what I was expecting. What about video CVs? Good grief. What a question. When you get a CV, you can read and go, this looks like a good candidate for an interview. But naturally, you don't get a direct reflection of the type of person. Did you get naturally, you don't get a direct reflection of the type of person that they are. I really suggest having a link to a video. Hi, my name's Jared Watney. I'm currently looking for a position on a 60-meter motor yacht. I have got Daywork experience on this. This is what I've done, and I'm willing to work hard, eager to learn, and I'm readily available. Bang, 30 seconds, something like that. Add a bit more detail here and there. And my suggestion would be to send off an email with a welcome letter and a link, something like that. Perhaps just WhatsApp certain captains that you know directly links. I seriously recommend taking the time to do that and I'm trying to work out a couple ways of helping people out with that as well. So keep informed on that for sure. What else? Hi, I just want to say hello to you both, especially Jared. I'm from Switzerland and watch your videos just because I'm enjoying it, even if I had no personal touch on yachting on boats at all. Thank you, Thomas. I seriously appreciate that. I'm looking for a couple position. Can you help me out with that too?
I'm so team friendly.
So Joe's team friendly because she worked with her husband as well. So I definitely recommend getting in touch. For sure. How old do you have to be a crew member? Minimum 18. Hi, just a note to say, really good job in making the videos, content, and live stream was awesome. Slowly running out of voice here, but we still got a solid 109 guys on. So I really
let's
appreciate
carry on
it.
until 7:30.
Just by the way, I'm trying to hit the 50K mark. So if those of you that are watching this have not subscribed, please just smash that subscribe button for me. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to hit that mark.
Daddy, are you watching?
Who's Daddy?
My dad.
I thought you were calling somebody on here your daddy.
No, that's awkward.
We're gonna jump onto another CV. Do you want to go through this one first before we jump into it? Like, do you want to have a look at it?
Oh, I did.
Okay, so you've had a vague look, right?
Very vague.
Okay, so why don't you have a slightly more in-depth look while I read one more question up. How far away are we from 50K? I don't know, but I was on like 29,700. So
no, 49, not 29.
Oh, 49,700. So I'm like 200 people away, give or take. So I'm kind of freaking
Get your friends subscribed.
Yeah, I'd love it. Just a note to say, good job enjoying the videos. Live stream is awesome. How far away from 50K? I am a tour manager. Here is a tip for your new crew. It didn't come up. Do crew members need a visitor's visa when anchoring in foreign ports? No, you stamped on board the vessel 90% of the time. Like that's that.
But to give you an example, I mean, just to cover that. So, for instance, my vessel was down in the Caribbean. We were on anchor in St. Bart's for the whole season. We were going in and out of St. Bart's all the time. I was getting on and off the tender, provisioning. And then one weekend, the boss got off and I decided I was going to take a ferry over to St. Bart's. They wouldn't let me in.
Right.
So I was underneath the boat's visa, but I didn't have the visa to be there in a recreational capacity.
Rocky said here, I'm a tour manager. He has a tip, and the tip was basically, it says YMCA Red Cross First Aid. For what it's worth, when you do your STCW, you do your first aid at sea. Sort of specifically targeted towards sea to some degree. And I actually encourage people to go one step further and do advanced situations. Definitely is. And I've had
Families.
no eye contact. I just couldn't. I'm sorry, but this is me. But I would struggle to work in a boat like this.
Well, see, me too. It didn't last there very long.
Yeah.
Being the people's person, I want to talk to my boss. And
Literally, if somebody was like, "No eye contact," I'd be like, "What's up, bro? What's happening?"
No, we just. I know owners who are paranoid and they have their crew taste their food because they're worried that people are going to poison them, and yeah. I mean, but most of the time, my charter guests have been super amazing. And in return, we've been super amazing. And in turn, the tip's been super amazing.
How rude do guests ever get to you? It depends, man. I had a couple of rudies there. I think we're going to end this off. It's an hour and a half
Really?
with 10 minutes. Do you want to carry on? Oh, we didn't break down. No?
Well, no, we can.
Just shortly. Quick one. Can you go quick?
I can go quick. So basically, I have Mattia or Mattia. I have your resume. I think that overall, you have the right content. I just think it's a little bit busy.
I agree. You need to simplify it because right now, as I look at it, I struggle to really know where
figure out. I don't know where I should look first. So that's my problem.
Whereas, as an example, and I'm trying to give you some advice here. You can
This
see
one's
it's
a little
super
bit
simple.
too black and white. This one's a little bit too color blocky. So a marriage between the two would be really nice.
Correct. Yes.
And that's where you get this, because you've got someone who's got the marriage of the two with the turquoise, with the, I don't know. I just think this is a perfect example, and I really wasn't expecting it.
Just a little bit less color, a little bit big, bold things with all the lines, and try and simplify it and just.
I think the picture is great.
Right.
Also, I would maybe try get one with a water background, but you look really great.
But look, he's an air traffic engineer. He's an aircraft technician. He's got his STCW. So when it comes from a know-how perspective,
you really know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing, man. So I really think like highlighting that stuff is smart, right? that's an engineer's side. Like if I was an engineer looking for somebody who's got
But maybe we
an
can.
aircraft thing, I mean, that's
Maybe
crazy.
this solid turquoise, we could keep that white and
Yeah.
just make the text black. I think you could keep all this blue, all of this. I think we just take all of this blue
Yeah.
and make it white and then make the actual text black. I think it would look absolutely sharp. I think your content is perfect.
Yeah, content being perfect,
And you've got your
hospitality
reference.
experience
Exactly.
right there, right?
And
So,
he's got his hospitality references over here too.
so you're hireable. You just need to make your CV
A little bit
make it
readable.
easier to read, and that's it. That would be my only advice here. Mechanical, you're obviously looking for. I mean, you got hospitality and mechanical, but I imagine you're going for engineer.
Yeah. And then Joshua Chris Reynolds.
Last one.
Yeah, this is the last one. Thank you for sending your resume through. Also, really strong resume. I would definitely add your expiration dates to the courses that you've done, your STCW, ENG1, anything that expires, even your passport or visas, we need to know when they expire. Well done with your carpentry skills, electrical work,
Super
audio,
helpful.
visual, video and photography. Honey, you're going to get a job really quickly if these are really solid skill sets that you do hold.
Talk about the photo because I think there's one small thing you could do to improve it.
You are a floating neck.
You could be in with a boat in the background, some
Or
ocean
at
in the
least a
background.
colorful polo, because if you're going to do a white shirt against a white wall, you're going to be a floating neck.
Right, so that's why I'm saying if you take another photo where there's a boat in the background and people start to visualize you as a crew member
And
with that
extend
shirt,
this.
it's totally perfect.
Extend this. Don't block it. Extend it. Watch your margins. You know, you've got this whole floater over here where this
Yeah, that's true.
this could have easily gone over. It would have been a lot more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, he's worked on a couple boats already, so
Yep.
you've already got the experience. Your CV's already worked for you, but I definitely think just adding simple things like the photos and things like that.
And
will just
watching
help.
your margins. I mean, yachting's all about the details.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So besides that, you've got your references.
Wrong one.
Sorry.
Yeah.
References and then hobbies. Wonderful.
I just want to see something. Wakeboarding. So depending on how good you are at wakeboarding, if you've instructed people, that would be a skill to some degree as well, not just as a hobby, right? I mean, if you
There's always a water deckhand
photography,
water sports.
videography as well. Yeah. You'll do great, man. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Make sure to check in on Blue Water.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get some last questions. At Jared Watney, please tell us this young lady's name again.
It's Joanne Cooper Damgard. I go by Joe Damgard.
Also, please interview work with her again. She's very charismatic and
We can do it on Monday, maybe.
So we could, but another thing that we're doing is I actually spent the entire day filming here, showcasing the back end of the crew placement side. So showcasing what she sees from her perspective, what happens when you click the check-in button, all that type of stuff is going to be put into the
But I
film.
feel like we
and
haven't even
produced
finished
on it.
that either.
No. But we've got more to do. But that's going to be a whole nother video on that as well. Joe is super helpful, and I sit in when she meets crew, and I'm freaked out by how much you care. So I really mean that. You don't earn commission by placing crew,
No.
and that's something I'm mentioning because it's not like she has to constantly help everybody, but she still does. And I really
want
appreciate
to
it. So,
because I really, I
I mean, it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. You could be with your husband.
yeah.
So
But I gotta
really
see him all
appreciate it.
weekend.
Okay, I'm not going to rate below deck. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that on a scale of 1 to 10. I will make
Can
an
I rate
entire
it?
video of that. No, you cannot. I will make an entire video of that another time.
0.
Okay, that's it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to keep this video on this channel for a while, so if you ever want to refer back,
Can I say something
feel free.
quickly?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so we also have a digital package. If you want to start out and you're looking for a digital package, I have my Welcome to Yachting Start Out Guide. I have this available in a digital format with a example resume, crew houses in Fort Lauderdale, how to register.
Amazing.
If you want this, can you please email crewusa@bluewateryachting.com and your subject will be Jared Watney Live.
That's it. Happy days. Link down below as well is Blue Water's Instagram page. I want to talk about it because I know you're going to start doing more hot tips. You're going to start talking about all that sort of stuff.
So at Blue Water Yacht Crew, one word, all lowercase.
There's a few of them because there's different places, but Blue Water Yacht
Blue Water
Crew.
Yacht Crew, one word. Basically, this is a platform. I miss being at sea. So this is my platform where you guys get to share your experiences, send me photos. I am going to tailor it a little bit more so that it is a little bit more focused towards you guys. It does, as you know, social media is a job in itself.
Yeah, it
so
is.
I am really busy at this time of the year. So I'm going to be working a little bit more towards there. Until then, it's going to be some beautiful photos of the industry and some of the boats that we work with.
Perfect. From my side, I was flown out here for 3 weeks of content. I got 3 solid weeks of videos coming. In fact, more than that I still have to edit. Blue Water flew me out here to come and create some content and do stuff like this. So I really hope you as viewers appreciate that. And my request, which they don't know I'm even saying this, would just be, if you're going to get into the industry and you're looking at doing some training, consider Blue Water. If you're looking for placement, consider Blue Water. I'm not telling you to go there. I'm just saying there should be a consideration. They're a phenomenal school. I've trained with them, and that's why I'm here, because I can vouch for them.
And we're number one worldwide.
Yeah, well, you can drop that in there for sure.
For
guys,
placement and training.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support and all the questions. It's been a lot. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you on the flip side.